Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the City Update. I'm your host Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. This week we're back in the Emergency Operations Center here in the City of Danville working with our Emergency Services Department. As last week they were dealing with the Emergency Operations Plan here in the City of Danville. Our Emergency Service Department, of course, is in charge of emergency management and emergency preparedness, but also the 911 Center. And we're very proud to say that our 911 Center has been recognized as the first in the Commonwealth of Virginia to use all three disciplines when it comes to priority dispatch: fire, police, and medical. On today's show, we're going to learn a lot more about priority dispatch and how this really benefits you at home. It really gives our 911 telecommunicators a list of questions that they can follow dealing with all types of emergencies. So it really pinpoints and gives them an accurate assessment of the situation so they can give that information to emergency personnel that are coming to assist you on the scene. So a great thing for us to have here in the City of Danville. We're very excited to be the first in the Commonwealth of Virginia to have all three disciplines. So let's introduce you now to our Assistant Director, Taylor Alvis, who will explain a little bit more about priority dispatch. Well, joining us now is Taylor Alvis, the Assistant Director for Emergency Services here in the City of Danville. And Taylor, I would like to first congratulate your department on being the first in the Commonwealth of Virginia, as I mentioned in my intro, to be using all three priority dispatch disciplines with police, fire, and medical. That's very good for our citizens.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. We're very excited about it as well. It's something that, one, we're highlighting in the Commonwealth, and we're bringing additional services to the community to help every citizen.
Now let's talk a little bit about priority dispatch and what that means for our citizens. Is that a protocol that is used across the country, or is that something new that we're implementing here in the City of Danville? I'll explain that a little bit for just priority dispatch in general.
Sure. Priority dispatch is a national company, and it's based on standardized protocols and national standards. So the protocols that we're using here, another agency that has priority will also be using those if they're in California. Trying to get to a standardized approach with 911. What the cards also do, and the protocol that we've purchased and implemented, it also gives the dispatchers extra tools. They might not have specific knowledge about a certain area, and this enables them to give the proper questioning, give the proper instructions to make sure the citizens helped in a timely fashion.
And when we're talking about priority dispatch, we now have it for medical, fire, and police, all three of those. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've had the medical since '99. Okay. We implemented the fire this May, and then just recently, on January 1st of this year, we went with police dispatch.
Now, why should our citizens feel that this is a great thing for the City of Danville?
Well, one, it enables the dispatcher to help them in any area that they might have an issue with, medical, fire, or police. Okay. The dispatcher might not have a specific or in-depth knowledge of that area. Okay. One, this allows them to make sure all the information is obtained that the officers need or the medical staff need, but it also, one, allows us to provide specific instructions to help you before first responders get there.
Right. Now, as you mentioned, we have been doing medical dispatch since 1999. I'm assuming that was very successful. That's the reason we went forward with fire and police?
Yes, the medical is the most the popular of the priorities. We implemented that first. It's been in use. We've seen it help citizens for the past 11 years. We obtained a grant for the fire protocol and the police protocol. Right. So there's no cost to from the local government, but we felt that now is a great time to offer these additional services. We felt we saw the need with our call volume.
Now, talk about the feedback. We're going to talk to a couple of your dispatchers on today's show, but what has been the feedback you've received from them with the implementation of the fire and police so recently?
Well, with the police, we have so many police calls. Right. The police volume is 80% of what we do. So it's more work on their part. But one, it also gives them the additional tools and comfort to feel that they're equipped for any type of emergency whatsoever. So they're very excited about it, and we're excited that they're able to utilize these tools and help people.
Now, just for our viewers to get a better understanding, how many calls does this 911 center receive, say, on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, we have anywhere from 200 to 500 calls. It depends on the day, the week. during the week,
Yeah.
work week, we have more citizens in town.
Right.
People are coming in from the counties and stuff. So it just depends on the time. So we usually average anywhere from 2 to 500, depending on the day.
And with this priority dispatch, it would seem to me from just talking to you that it would help them get through that call a little quicker, get to the point of the issue a little faster.
It does. It streamlines the questions to where the most relevant and the most important information is asked first, in case the caller becomes disconnected or goes unconscious, or a suspect comes back to the scene or something.
Yeah.
So it's very important, because we're getting the most important information first to ensure our police, all of our first responders, are having the information they need to remain safe.
And of course, when it comes to emergencies, seconds count. So, and that's definitely what we need to strive for here in our 911 center, is get the information as quickly as we can.
Yeah, that's true. We're looking for the safest approach, the most efficient approach, and timely approach to where we can provide the most relevant instruction to every citizen.
Now let's talk about training for our 911 dispatchers. Do they have to go through specific training for these different disciplines?
They do. They have to be certified in each discipline as a emergency police dispatcher, fire dispatcher, and medical dispatcher.
Right.
They go through a 2-day, 2 to 3 day, depending on the length of the class, training session. Sometimes we hold it here in-house. Sometimes we send folks out of town to obtain that.
Okay.
Each year they have to have continuing education. We have monthly training in each area. So they are updated on any type of current events or what's going on in the national front. And we also have updates to the protocol. As they come out, we implement those and train on those as well.
All right. Well, how many, because it would seem for our viewers out there who may be thinking, gosh, there's thousands of different scenarios that could come up within a 911 call. Say for medical, as an example, how many different scenarios do they have in that booklet to scroll through?
We have about 30.
Okay.
In every medical emergency, there's classifications. So your medical emergency will fall into one of those areas. And as the protocol goes on and the questions are answered, it will better determine, is this the most appropriate protocol for this type of emergency.
Okay. Very good. Well, what I want to do now is actually go through some of the pamphlets with our viewers and give them a better understanding of the medical, fire, and police, and maybe go through a couple of scenarios, and then I know we're going to talk to a couple of our telecommunicators as well.
Yep. So I'm very excited about that. All right, we're here with the medical, the fire, and the police protocols. I want to show you, this is the card set that's at each dispatch console. It outlines different protocols for different medical emergencies, depending on what the caller asked for. It also gives us specific instructions on how to help that person before first responders arrive. So this is our medical. With our fire, it's based on the same layout and concept of flip chart. Defines specific fire-related type emergencies that our fire department handles here. And it also gives us specific instructions, such as a person trapped in a structure fire, how to assist them or how to give them life safety instructions until the fire department arrives. And then we have our newest implementation of the police protocol. There's a lot of, like I said, the bulk of our calls are police calls, so we use this protocol multiple times on a daily basis. And the main part of the protocol is, one, officer safety, making sure we're retaining the correct information and asking the correct questions to keep our officers safe and keep our citizens safe.
Well, Taylor, thanks so much for the brief overview of the flip charts, but as you were telling me, they only use those a very small percentage of the time. They do have a computer-based program, is that correct?
That is correct. What we do, we use a software-based. It's more efficient. It's a little bit faster for them to use. We have the flip charts in case the software goes down. We have computer or technical issues. So like I said, they do use the computer software about 95% of the time.
Wow, okay, great. Well, what I'd like to do now is I'm going to talk to a couple of your telecommunicators. They're actually going to walk us through a couple of the scenarios on the computer, and then I know we've got one of your telecommunicators, Pepper Travis, who actually helped save a life with one of these protocols just recently.
That's correct. And we're seeing on a daily basis how this is helping people in our community, so we're very excited.
Great. Well, let's talk to a couple of those communicators.
Thanks.
Well, joining us now is Crystal Davis, who has been a 911 telecommunicator here in our emergency service department for 3.5 years. And Crystal, I know you were on board before we implemented the fire and police priority dispatch, so you can really give our viewers an understanding of what it was like before and the way it is now. And have you seen an improvement as a telecommunicator with this priority dispatch in place?
Yes, especially with the fire. Usually when we get fire calls, we get the address. Make sure we have the address and the phone number and tell them to get out of the house if we can. And that was all we got from them.
Right.
So now we can actually get the call and actually get what floor the fire's on, so we can let the fire department know exactly what's going on. Okay. Especially if it's fire's really engulfed in the house, we can tell them instructions how to get down, get out, what to do, and before the firefighters get there.
That's great. Have you received feedback from the firefighters on the improvement of having this system in place and how it really speeds up the process and getting the information to them?
Yeah, I've talked to a few of them. They really like it. For as when they get on scene, they know what to expect, which way to go into the house, and exactly what's going on with the fire.
And as we were talking to Taylor earlier, seconds really count when it comes to emergencies, and this really helps speed up the process, doesn't it? Knowing which direction to take when a question is answered.
Exactly. They know when to get there, what direction to go in, and they already kind of have an idea of what to do in their mind before they actually get on scene of the call.
And before I became a city employee and working closely with emergency services, I always wondered how in the world you all knew what questions to ask, because you've got thousands of different scenarios.
Exactly.
I know that you get calls every day. As Taylor said, you get 500 calls in this center every day. So it's got to make you feel a little more comfortable as a telecommunicator to have at least 30 different scenarios in place when it comes to fire, medical, and police.
Right, exactly. We have so many protocols. Might have where you actually have a structure fire. It might be electrical lines down in front of the house, or do you have different types of situations, what's going on. So you have actually a protocol to choose from to kind of guide the citizens and also the fire department where to go.
Well, I know you've been working with medical dispatch ever since you've been employed here.
Right.
Do you have any situations that you can remember or call where the dispatch, the priority dispatch, really came into play, and you thought, if I really didn't have that protocol here in front of me, I don't know, it may have turned out a little different?
Exactly, especially with I would say with the CPR, giving instructions on that, because we didn't have that. I feel like a lot of lives wouldn't be saved, and we're able to assist people that's never did CPR before, and you actually have instructions to tell them how to do it.
That's
so
great.
You're guiding them and saving somebody's life. So.
And let's talk about the training, because I know you all go through extensive training at the beginning to learn the dispatch, but then it's reoccurring training. I think on a monthly basis or so, you all get to specific
and it's every 2
training.
years we have to be certified with the CPR and making sure we're up to date on all the new things that's going on with it. Because sometimes they have changes in them. We have to know what's going on with them.
So it's very beneficial to our citizens. I want to reiterate that so they get a good understanding that this can really save lives here in our community.
Exactly. It does.
Well, what I'd like to do now is really go with you into your office, because I know this is really software-based. As Taylor said, you really only use the flip charts 5% of the time. So give our viewers a better understanding of you going through a scenario. I think we'll go through maybe a stroke diagnosis.
Right. Yeah, we have a new stroke tool. We can tell what, if it's a actual stroke or not, so we can let the EMS know what's going on.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back from break, we'll be inside the 911 center with Crystal at her station and going through one of these scenarios. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My name is Amanda. I'm 21 years old. I have lots of friends that use tanning beds that lay out in the sun all the time, and I tell them about Jamie. Jamie was in her early 20s when she was diagnosed with melanoma, and she died right before she turned 30. Jamie's death caused me to stop tanning completely. Before that, in high school, I wanted to be dark and look good in a prom dress or a bathing suit. In high school, it was the thing to do. But after Jamie's death, I completely stepped away from tanning beds and never went back. I know now tanning can cause the worst possible skin cancer you could get. People think tanning is safe. I don't think it's safe. You could die just like Jamie did.
This message is brought to you by the American Academy of Dermatology.
Danville 911, what's the address of your emergency? Okay, can you repeat that address for me for verification? Okay, can I get the phone number you're calling from? Okay. Okay, can you repeat that phone number for me? Okay, and who am I speaking with? And what's your last name, Taylor? All right, thank you. And tell me exactly what happened, Taylor. You said a stroke. Okay, are you with him now? All right, how old is your father? Is he awake right now? Okay, is he breathing? Okay. Hold on for me one moment. Is he completely alert? Is he breathing normally? And tell me why you think it's a stroke. Okay, I want you to get close enough to ask him 3 questions. Just tell me when you're ready, when you're next to him. Okay, can you ask him to smile? Okay, was the smile equal on both sides of his mouth? It was not? Was it equal on any side at all? Okay. Okay, can you ask him to raise both arms above his head? And just let me know what he does. One arm? Okay. Okay, can you ask him to say, the early bird catches the worm? He can't say it at all? Okay. Okay, tell me exactly what time did these symptoms start, Taylor? Has he ever had a stroke before? Okay, hold on for me one moment while help's being dispatched, okay? All right, we're sending the ambulance to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, okay? I want to reassure you that help is on the way. Don't let him have anything to eat or drink. It might make him sick or cause problems for the doctor. I just want you to let him rest in the most comfortable position and wait for help to arrive, okay? And just watch him very closely. If he becomes less awake and vomits, quickly turn him on his side. And I need you to put away any family pets, gather his medications, unlock the door, turn on your outside light, and have someone to meet the ambulance when they get there, okay? And if he gets worse in any way, you just call me back immediately for further instructions, okay? All right, thank you, and bye-bye.
Well, Crystal, thanks so much for walking us through that particular scenario with the stroke. And it looks like within a matter of a minute or two, you had paramedics on the way. And because of that, basically that protocol that was in place.
Exactly, and getting the correct information, you can give the EMS units, firefighters responding, what's going on, up to date, I guess, scenario with the patient. So
because we didn't actually hear that on that, but once you have gathered all that information, you send paramedics, then you give them an update as they're en route. Is that correct?
Exactly. While I'm actually taking the call, one of my partners are actually dispatching the call. So we're going on and getting them started, and then we can give them an update after they're already en route. Most of the time, they're almost at the address when we're giving them the update. Right. So.
Well, Crystal, thanks so much for coming on today's show with us, and thank you for all you do as a 911 telecommunicator here in the city of Danville and really saving lives on a daily basis. We appreciate all your hard work and also for giving us a better understanding of the priority dispatch.
All right, anytime. Thank you.
They are accidents waiting to happen. This year, 1 in 3 older adults will fall in their own home, breaking bones, fracturing hips, shattering lives. Yet many falls can be prevented, meaning they're not really accidents. To make your home safer, visit orthoinfo.org/falls, a public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, where staying on your feet is doctor's orders.
Well, welcome back to this week's edition of the City Update. We're now joined by Pepper Travis, who is a veteran 911 telecommunicator here in the city of Danville. She's been serving the city for 12 years. And Pepper, I want to talk to you because obviously you were here before we even had the medical priority dispatch and the difference you've seen, because we get a lot of medical calls here in the 911 center. So what are some of the differences that you've seen in using the priority dispatch versus prior to that?
Well, the priority dispatch, I think, Mark, it's a great thing, but the public has to learn they've got to be patient. They've got to be attentive. If they can answer the questions that we give them, it will really help out a lot, and it will help that patient that's there.
Well, Pepper, I know we implemented the fire priority dispatch a couple of months back here in the 911 center, and you actually received a call and walked through the protocol for a particular incident dealing with a stuck accelerator. Can you kind of explain that to our viewers?
Yeah, well, we had just started the fire protocol, had just put it into effect, so it was new to us as well in starting it. And lady called in on 911. She was actually in Caswell County, but we're obligated to help her also. She told me her accelerator on her Toyota 4Runner had stuck. Told me where she was, headed out of Danville into Caswell County, 700 Eden exit. So once you bring up our fire protocol, we have an icon that we can click on. That icon will tell us how to tell that caller how to stop that vehicle. So it takes you step by step. Now, the main thing is to try to keep the caller calm.
I'm sure.
That's the hardest part of the
Especially in that
job.
particular
Exactly. Now, this lady, you know, at first, she was relatively calm at first, but as the vehicle started to speed up, you know, she kind of started to lose it a little bit. And I would tell her what to do, and if I felt like she had gotten to the point where she wasn't understanding what I was saying or that she was too hysterical, I would just repeat it and tell her again to do it. So we got the car stopped, Mark.
Right.
It finally started to slow down and then stopped.
And the car actually reached speeds up to close to 100 miles an hour.
It did. And she know I was doing my best to help her, but she was like to the point where she said, I made up my mind I was just going to die today.
Well, so it was great to have that priority dispatch because say we didn't have that in place, you would have to just recall in your mind any type of call you may have had previously with a stuck accelerator. Is that what would have?
We had never had one with a stuck accelerator. To my knowledge, we've never had one. So you see how that icon helped us out so much in that fire protocol. It was just fantastic. It worked, and it was a great day for all of us.
And that's just one example with the fire protocol, but we have some examples with police and also, of course, with the medical because it's been implemented for 10 years now. But that's a good indication of the success of having a priority dispatch in place, and I just wanted you to share that with our viewers so they can know the importance of having this in place. And you made a good point though about staying calm, and that goes for any type of 911 call. You need to stay calm because you're there to help and try to relay as much information to you as you can, right?
And it's a lot of questions. Granted, it's a lot of questions, but if it helps to save a life, it's all worth it.
Well, Pepper, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and thank you for your service with the 911 Center for so many years. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, as we wrap up this edition of the City Update, I'm back with Taylor Elvis, the Assistant Director for Emergency Service. And Taylor, what a great story we just heard from Pepper. Really shows how priority dispatch is working here to save lives in the city of Danville.
It is. It directly relates to having these instructions and these protocols and being able to utilize them directly saves the lives here in the city of Danville.
Absolutely. Well, while we have you here and we've got a couple of minutes left on the show, I definitely want to pick your brain, of course, with some of the tips we can offer our viewers when calling 911. What are some of the main things they need to know when they dial 911 for their emergency, whether it's medical, fire, or police?
Well, the first thing is to know your address. If you don't know the address you're at, say you're at a business or you're traveling, give them the most descriptive answer if you're in front of a business or something. But knowing your address is very important. Where are we going to send help? Right. They're going to be verifying this information. They'll allow you to repeat that information back to them to make sure they heard you correctly, make sure we have the correct location. Once they start getting into the protocol, it's going to be a lot of questions. These questions are extremely relevant to, one, providing you proper instruction, providing the proper response to assist you. So it's important to just stay calm, answer the questions as the dispatcher gives them out, and just stay with them. A lot of people expect to call 911, say, I need an ambulance, here's my address, bye. Right. That's not necessary. We're providing a higher level of service now, so stick with the questions. They're very important, and it could potentially have a life safety outcome.
And they're really specific questions now dealing with your emergency. That's the whole point behind the priority dispatch.
We're trying to better equip and give more accurate information to our responders, which is one, cutting down on the amount of time it takes them to determine certain things. If we can help you before they get there, it's just going to speed up your service that much more. So.
All right, Taylor. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. And again, congratulations to you and your staff here within Emergency Services and the 911 Center for being the first in the Commonwealth of Virginia to have all three priority dispatch with fire, EMS, and police. We congratulations on that. And, of course, our viewers got a good indication of why that's so important on today's show.
It is. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
And thank you at home for watching. Until next week, have a great day.
Winter in Virginia can be cold, snowy, icy. Sometimes power is out. Roads are blocked. Are you ready? Visit readyvirginia.gov to learn more. Plan now. Be safe. Don't use generators indoors. Put at least 3 days' food and water in your family emergency kit. Make a kit for your car and keep your gas tank filled. Listen to local radio and TV for information. Get a battery-powered radio with weather alerts. Call 511 for road conditions before you drive. Get ready for winter weather today. readyvirginia.gov.
What if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today.